Hey, folks. January can be a tough month. I don't know if you were aware of what yesterday was, but the folks at sunsetlakesebede.com know it and know it well. They're from way up in Vermont. Little bit of sunlight, freezing temperatures. Makes it hard to stay on your New Year wellness goals, especially regardless of what they are, even if it's just like your emotional ones. Well, believe it or not, Sebede can help you maintain your healthy habits this year. Depending on your dose, Sebede oil can help you with sleep, with stress, and with relaxation. Everything you need to roll with the punches doled out by, insane things happening in the news. Or just winter doldrums. Best part is Sunset Lake's tinctures are also sugar-free and allow you to customize your dose. You can save 35% on Sunset Lake Sebede tinctures right now when you check out with the code tincture. I almost daily use the Good Night Oil tincture. I've tried the straight Sebede. That was helpful, relaxing. I tried the one with melatonin. Some people like melatonin. It acts weird with me. The Good Night Oil has Sebede and Sebe-N, and it is the perfect combo for me. You can try out which one is the perfect combo for you. They have different dosages and different concentrations and different flavors. So check it out. You want to use it after you brush your teeth? Go with the mint. You like the Sebede flavor? You go with the original. Head over to sunsetlakesebede.com. Use the code tincture to save 35% on tinctures. See their site for terms and conditions. You know they're a great company. You've heard me talk about it a bunch of times. The coupon code is tincture. Go do it now. After the show.
Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
And I get the feeling you've been cheated.
It is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Trump takes office amidst an exclusive inauguration full of oligarchs, yes men, and Nazi salutes. Meanwhile, Trump issues a series of executive orders, simultaneously a series of broken promises, including illegally suspending the TikTok law. He also did not sign an order for 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, as he promised he would. It's supposed to be 100%. Did pardon 1,500 January 6 coup attempters, including violent criminals. Trump relaxes regulations on oil and gas production, pulls out of the World Health Organization, starts the process to rename Denali Mount McKinley, and the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. He declares a national emergency at the southern border, makes attempts to end birthright citizenship, and suspends the refugee program, stranding 1,500 Afghanis. Withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accords. gave his official blessing to Doge, which incidentally has ousted Vivek Ramaswamy because he said white people were lazy. Trump kicks transgender military personnel out of the military, terminates diversity, equity, inclusion, strips trans people of their gender for federal government purposes. Also freezes federal hiring, ramps up the death penalty, and more. Meanwhile, the Senate passes the Lake and Riley Act with 11 Democrats voting in favor. Marco Rubio is sworn in as Secretary of State. Scores of longtime diplomats quit or are told to leave. Biden issues preemptive pardons to Milley, Fauci, and January 6th committee members, including, and I should say, and also his own family. But good news, he commutes the sentence of Leonard Peltier. Gaza ceasefire holding, except for the fact that Israel has killed 8 in Rafah. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here. Emma is out. She's sick to her stomach. Having a delayed reaction to the inauguration. She severe stomach problems. There's a lot of norovirus going around.
Yeah, well, now that the World Health Organization is out of our hair, we can start becoming healthy again.
Exactly. When you're connected to the rest of the world, you get their diseases, which is why you don't want to be part of that whole thing. We got a lot to get to today, obviously. New era. Some of those executive orders are BS, and some of them are really disturbing and having a dramatic impact on people's lives. The ones that are having the most dramatic impact on people's lives, like on day one, are the most marginal in our society, or are brown, or yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. I think between those two, between those two crosstabs, we've hit everybody who's going to be really dramatically affected in terms of the day one stuff. Should we play a little clip of his speech? I don't really feel terribly strong about it. But let's play this. Let's play clip number 1, and then we'll play you. Wait. No. I'm sorry. Forget the clip number 1. Maybe we'll play that a little bit later. If you really want to watch his speech, you can. Yeah. It was,
upstaged, frankly.
Yeah, he was upstaged by Elon, and we will get to that. But supposedly they brought the inauguration indoors because it was going to be too cold. I suspect that Donald Trump did not want the drama of not having a lot of people at his inauguration again. It took so much effort last time, and so much of the government's resources were dedicated to pretending that there were more people there than there were. I think his Heritage Foundation Project 2025 guys were like, hey, let's just do it indoors and it'll be more comfortable, and we can make it more exclusive, sort of like a club, less like a democracy and more like, I don't know, a coronation, like a new monarch, if you will. Here is the CNN panel, and it's pretty stunning the way they react to this.
And then just scattered throughout are these tech CEOs.
Yeah. I mean, the exclusivity of this room is incredible. I mean, there are governors and high-level elected officials who are in the overflow. But these folks, we should also remind people, they paid money into the Donald Trump inaugural fund. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, they wrote $1 million checks. And $1 million check, I suppose, gets you in the room where it happens.
I agree with you, Abby, but this is about as mutually beneficial as it gets. Because, as I think you said earlier, Donald Trump is the ultimate producer, and he understands branding and marketing and imagery as well as, or better than most.
And then just...
I don't even get what they don't even seem to be knowing what they're saying. Like none of these people have, it's almost honestly fascinating. And this is going to be a problem again. Like every time Trump comes to office, it exposes new problems with the press. They don't have the words to express what's going on there. It's mutually beneficial. Like, wait, what? Of course it is. That's the obvious part. I guess that's what $1 million gets you. I mean, like Abby Phillips is like, center left. I don't know where she is on the spectrum of that, but she is on the liberal side of the divide. I don't know about that other person. Like, we should look at this in the same way that we would look at, like, I don't know, sponsorship for like a Indy 500 car, or or the synergy that's created between two different departments at a private corporation. Like, they don't even understand, like, hey, this has the look of like a feudal system ceremony. This is what an oligarchy looks like.
The people that are elected are in the overflow.
The government officials are kept out because of the private business people who paid money. Hey, wait a second. Aren't we inaugurating a president of a democracy, not a king or installing a dictator put in there by moneyed interest? I mean, this is pretty rudimentary stuff, but they don't even have the language for this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a situation where the producer's going like, hey, don't disparage anybody up there because they all basically support this network in one fashion or another. Or for that matter, let's not get too critical of Trump too early. Let's give a little bit of breathing room because ABC already did their payola stuff. CBS is about to pay out their protection money. We haven't quite gotten there yet.
Because they admired all those guys until they went in line behind Trump this past year, and they're surprised somehow that billionaires would do that. But David Wallace Wells has a good stat. One astonishing thing about the number of tech billionaires donating $1 million to Trump in the inauguration is that, for instance, Zuckerberg's donation is the equivalent of someone worth $200 million donating $1,000. And Osita Nwanevu, the combined net worth of the four wealthiest people at Trump's inauguration is $1.06 trillion.
And be clear, Musk gave a minimum of $250 million, I think. I mean, I think that's a minimum in terms of like getting him elected. That's a minimum, I think. I mean, I don't know how you even measure services in kind when you're coming out of like one entity. And that doesn't include Twitter, whatnot, changing the algorithm.
Right.
There's literally like 3 people who provided half of all the money he raised. And, I mean, this is about as naked as it gets in terms of the oligarchy. And I just, to talk about this being mutually beneficial and not speaking in the same breath of how detrimental it is to either like sort of like the material interests of democracy or the optics of democracy. Like, if the words "this is gross" is not coming out of your play-by-play every minute, then I think you missed the boat on this. But this is really this is impressive stuff. Let's put it this way: sit down and map out how you would create an authoritarian. If you were to imagine America going that way, what steps would you take? The smart people would have said that's what the inauguration was going to look like, right? Like, I wouldn't have had the imagination at first to say, like, oh, I mean, yes, there would be a lot of tanks, although they did have like the howitzers firing, outside. But doing it inside in the king's court,
with all the surveillance billionaires, which is what those guys are.
Yeah, I mean, impressive. Yeah, people are saying that the panels are looking a little vivid today.
It's 2025 for you.
2025, everything's coming to focus. We got to make some camera adjustments, but we're having a little difficulty on the camera side today, but we'll be okay. So that's the inauguration. Now, Donald Trump did everything he could not to get overshadowed this inauguration. Last inauguration he had to spend all of his energy sort of like backfilling why or sort of retconning the idea that there was nobody at his inauguration because he was embarrassed by it. He likes to have a good audience. And so this time they did it indoors. But then some of the speakers went to, like, what is it, the Capital One thing? Is that where, and how many is that?
Fitting.
How many is that seat? Is it 200,000 people?
Oh no, it's the basketball arena.
Little under 21,000. Little under 20,000. Little under 21,000. Excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like a big,
Wizards game,
like a big comedian, like a draw from like a mid-level comedian.
The Wizards never get it this far.
Okay, so there was 20,000 people there. Interesting. Was there a huge? There must have been throngs of crowds outside of it because there's the people. Elon Musk went over there to give a speech. And, he's neurodivergent.
Oh, God.
And he gets really excited. And he's never had any friends. And he spends his time having to pretend that he's smarter than he is, paying people to play video games for him so he can seem like he's cooler than he is. I know people who were at parties of his, like back in the day, before he, really was as big as he is now, back when he was in the PayPal mafia. And they would basically hire girls to come to the parties. And it was very weird, apparently.
Wow.
So he's awkward. And so here he is just getting a little awkward at the beginning of this speech. This is number 8.
This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay. This there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Hold on. Wait. Whoa. This is number 8, right? Clip number 8. What was the thank you? What? That's a thank you? Is that the international symbol for thank you? Could you just go back a little bit? That was an interesting thing because he really, from my heart, outward, thank you? Is that what he's saying? Go ahead.
Let's see. Mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Turn it around.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you.
My heart, is that what he says next? My heart goes out to you?
There's a little shiver in his voice when he's saying that.
My heart goes out to you. I see. He really, that's the classic, my heart goes out to you. And then you just thrust your arm out.
Throw it up. Throw your heart at a 45-degree angle. towards the roaring crowd.
Okay. And then, well, all right. I mean, everybody makes a mistake once. It was obviously not a premeditated thing. He's just getting excited. No. Number 9, right? He's just, no. Number 9. There was a second one.
This is a comparison.
He did it twice.
Yep, it's in here.
Is it not in the first clip?
It's not in the first clip. No. He only puts this, yeah.
Okay. And that apparently it was cut out. So it was he did it out of his own excitement, not premeditated.
Yeah.
It's just like in the moment, he's like, my heart goes out to you. He wasn't premeditated and he wasn't backfilling when he said that. But here is a situation where apparently this is clip number 9.
There's a cutaway, but if you see the full thing,
who did these two different things? Is this number 10? This is number 10. What is 8 and what is 9? Okay, what was the first clip we played? 9. Okay, I wanted to play 8 first. That's why I said 8. Okay, so what? All right, so this is now a stream. Apparently, NBC edited out the second one. Is that right? Okay, play these.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out. And
oh, he did it both. He did it on both sides. Isn't that awkward? Isn't that awkward? Now, a lot of people are trying to pretend that somehow this is some type of Nazi fascist salute. When Elon is he's neurodivergent. Okay? And let's compare it. This is from last year in January. This is the CBC has a footage of dozens of Italian fascists giving a salute during a far-right rally in Rome. Here it is. Okay, now look. Do you see? None of them are touching their heart and thrusting their arms out. They're just thrusting their arms out. Musk was clearly saying, this is my heart. I send it out to you. Like thrusting it out. And, if that was the case, and some people have suggested it could be a Roman thing too.
Right.
Now, the Roman thing was actually just made up.
In the 1800s by theater people.
And then I guess apparently the Nazis adopted that. In the same way that they also came over here and took the Massachusetts State Police uniforms. They found them to be the most sort of Nazi-ish, I guess, what they were going for.
They're open to influence.
But let's look at this guy, famed Roman, theatrical. Guy played a lot of Roman performances. Here he is.
I don't speak Italian. What was he saying?
Well, didn't they speak Latin in Rome?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right? Yeah, he's speaking Latin, and he's doing some type of theater production.
Is that Cicero?
And that's why he's doing the thing from his heart and going out, right?
Yeah, give us one more time.
Let's see that one more time.
in the Nazi salute.
Well, he's going out. Does Zeke Heil mean my heart goes out to you?
Thank you so much for doing this. This is a fork in the road.
We're at the crossroads of civilization. My heart goes out to you. I give my heart to you. Everybody. Gilbert Gottfried had a great joke about Kurt Waldheim, who people don't remember, but he was at one point the UN chief, and he was from Vienna, And it came out while he was head of the UN that he may have had a Nazi past. And Gilbert Gottfried had a great joke where he was talking that Kurt Waldheim and his wife were on vacation, just like in the late 30s. And he was in front of, they went to Germany, and he was in front of some fountain, and his wife was about ready to take his picture. And they saw some Nazis come walking through, and Waldheim said, "Wait, don't take the picture. Don't take the picture. Don't take the picture." And that's when she snapped the picture. And that was what the problem was. Yep. So, look, there is no doubt in my mind that Elon Musk, remember, you have to remember who this guy is. He pays people to play video games with him, for him, so that he can look like he is a top video game player. Mm-hmm. He has a team of like writers coming up with something like where he wanted to go on Saturday Night Live and pull out a rubber chicken out of his pants and say, "Do you want to see my C word?" Because he's juvenile and has no friends. And there is no doubt in my mind that this guy definitely came up with this as a troll. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say my heart goes out to you. And I'm going to play it off that way.
And he practiced it.
And he practiced it without a doubt. And it was like, watch what I'm going to do to whatever friends he pays to be around him. And they're all going to get a huge laugh out of it. But understand there's not a huge difference between that and a fascist doing it earnestly. These symbols they exist for a reason. They create an in-group and an out-group. And if you're in on a joke like this, you're part of the in-group. And if you're on the out-group, you're on the out-group. It's not a coincidence they do these things. They do these things to create that in-group and out-group. Secret handshakes, I mean, all of this stuff. Sometimes they can be benign, and sometimes they can represent other things. So, and, at the end of the day, the symbolism is one thing. The actions are going to be more important. And we're going to go through the actions that Donald Trump has taken already as president. Remember, destroying things and hurting people is a lot easier than building things and helping people. It just is. So that stuff can move quick. First couple of words from our sponsors. Have you ever wondered how much of your personal data is out there on the internet for anyone to see? Well, be prepared to feel a little bit nauseous if you have not checked on this before. Your name, your contact info, sometimes your social security number, your home address, maybe your family members, who's your family members, people you've associated with, your social media accounts, emails. Data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, unwanted spam calls. You know where you get those emails and go, Samuel, you have money in an account here. Click on this. Or Samuel, did you live at one dreary place in New York City? We have, a cash waiting for you. Click on this. And then it's like a phishing thing. That's the way they do it. They buy some data off the dark web, and then they just combine it with readily available data. It's a problem. For me, this product I'm advertising is one I've been using actually probably for about 10 years now. Basically because I don't want my public information out there because there's creepy people. Want to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Delete Me. Like I say, as a person who exists publicly, sharing my opinions online, I am hyper aware of safety and security. I started using Delete Me, like I say, 10 years ago. It's been very effective. What you do, you sign up, you provide Delete Me with exactly what information you want deleted, and their experts take it from there. Delete Me sends you a regular personalized privacy report showing what info they found, where they found it, and what was removed. I had something like last month, like 400 entries removed. Delete Me is not a one-time service. They continually do it because every time they strip stuff, these data brokers resell it and they repopulate in a lot of places, and then they got to go back through and delete it again. So Delete Me is always working for you, constantly monitoring, removing the personal information you don't want on the internet. Put it simply, Delete Me does all the hard work of wiping you and your family's personal information from data broker websites. Take control of your data, keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting majority to 64,000. That's text the word majority to 64,000. That's majority to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. We'll put a link at the podcast and YouTube description. Also, one of the big changes I made in terms of helping my sleeping regimen, my sheets. I wanted something that obviously is extremely soft, but really I was looking for something that was going to keep me cool because I just sleep too hot. Cozy Earth bedding has been the key. I want to thank Cozy Earth for sponsoring this episode. You can unlock an exclusive discount for up to 40% using the code MajorityReport. One word, at cozyearth.com/majority-report. I've got Cozy Earth towels. I've got Cozy Earth bat mats. I've got my favorite hoodie sweatshirt is a Cozy Earth sweatshirt. I've got joggers, the only pair of joggers I've ever worn. Cozy Earth ones, because I can use them both as like sweatpants and about like sort of I can go to the supermarket in these things. Their bamboo pajama set, a timeless classic, is perfected at Cozy Earth. It is a great gift for somebody. Soft stretch knit that features enhanced breathability and luxurious drape. Oh, this is the whole thing about the breathability. So Cozy Earth is made with viscose, which is made from bamboo. And that makes it not only sustainable, bamboo is literally a weed. I don't know why it's so soft. You'd think it wouldn't, but I guess when you get down to that level, it's just incredibly soft. And it gets softer with washing. But it starts off extremely soft too. You just sleep several degrees cooler because they're so breathable. And it is a durable weave fabric that will not pill, guaranteed for 10 years. Cozy Earth prides itself on responsible production of its products. Cozy Earth bedding products have a 10-year warranty. That's how much Cozy Earth believes in them. You got to check this stuff out. Better Earth starts with better sleep. Wrap yourself in Cozy Earth. Don't wait. Head to cozyearth.com/majority-report now. Use my exclusive code MajorityReport. Get 40% off. Cozyearth.com/majority-report. If you get a post-purchase survey, say you heard about Cozy Earth from the Majority Report. It's helpful to us. But do yourself a favor, head over there. We'll put a link in the podcast and YouTube description to that Cozy Earth stuff. All right, let's just play this one clip of Donald Trump during his speech. I would say this is pretty similar to the, America is Gotham speech he gave. The dark version. Was that at his first inauguration, or was it at his
American Carnage?
Yeah,
speech, yeah.
This is there was a similarity here, but the whole look. There's two, I'd say, or three major themes that we're going to be looking at during the Trump administration. One is the destruction of the administrative state. And he's outsourced that. That was like Bannon's project. That was, and now it's Russ Vought's project, Project 2025, Heritage Foundation. None of this should be a surprise to you. The administrative state really, really does two things. It provides benefits to citizens in the form of redistribution of money. And it could be, helping with schooling and all that stuff. And then the other is it inhibits corporations from socializing the cost of their profits. That's it. That's basically what the administrative state does. It either gives you money out in the form of Social Security or food stamps or Medicare or, money to education and, or it regulates so that in almost all regulation, federal regulation is basically saying to corporations, you cannot socialize some of the costs, it should be all, but some of the costs you have onto society because it increases your profits. You can't dump this stuff into the river, even though it's cheaper for you to dump it into the river than it is to burn it, because when you dump it into the river, you end up causing cancer to people. You cannot sort of cheat on these investments because it may be more profitable for you, but it's going to cost the rest of society. We could go on, but that's the basic dynamic. So that's one thing that's going to go on. The other thing that's going to go on is Trump is going to lie about what he's going to do. He's going to set up that there's some type of problem that exists that probably doesn't exist. There may be some instances of it, and they may be building on some legitimate grievance, but he's going to inflate this problem. Then he's going to lie about what he's going to do to fix it. He's not going to do those things to fix it, but because the problem was inflated to begin with, he's going to claim victory. And then the third thing he's going to do, which is in part with the first thing, but it's enrich him and his corporate buddies. And that's going to just take the form of like, we're doing tariffs. Or I may ban TikTok unless, of course, we get a taste. Maybe what we need to do is get together a group of people. Don Jr., why don't you put together a team to buy half of TikTok? The U.S. will come in and we'll pay for half of it too. You'll get all the valuation. We'll take all the cost. Or, hey, I know. Why don't we create a Bitcoin reserve? Why would we do that? That's completely against the ethos of Bitcoin because you guys want to have non-government attached currency, right? Or what we could do is create an artificial scarcity of Bitcoin or heighten its scarcity by buying up a bunch of it, holding on to it, releasing it, and adding to it as needed. I mean, it's basically like we have a sale on dog collars right now on the Majority Report. We're gonna blow these things out. They're great. They're great for your dog. You can find them at shop.majorityreportradio.com. You can use them around your yoga mats. People have told me, yeah. But maybe what we'll do is we'll keep a reserve of our own, but we'll have the government buy it.
There should be a reserve of Left Reckoning Patreon subscriptions.
We'll have the government buy half of the dog collars. which is going to make these much more rare, folks, and the government is holding them.
For a rainy day or something.
For a rainy day. I mean, this is such a scam. It's unbelievable. But those are the three things that are going to happen during this. Personal enrichment, enrichments for his buddies, broadly speaking, rollback of the regulatory state and the welfare state, and then just BS. Here is Trump speaking after the swearing in.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad.
Now, let's just go through this like a crisis at home. What crisis are we facing at home? Like, he was arguing that it's some type of immigration thing. But we don't have an immigration crisis in this country whatsoever. I mean, to the extent that there's a crisis, it's more of a crisis for the immigrants than it is for the country. I mean, for better or for worse, we're at record low border crossings. We just simply aren't processing people enough because we can't dedicate the resources. We won't dedicate the resources to having more judges that will administer U.S. law. But when he talks about a crisis in government in terms of like people not trusting it, we have said many, many times, if you are anti-establishment and you have no ideology, you have no plan for what actual governance is, that you're completely and only animated by being anti-establishment, by the very virtue that they're establishment, right? Like, it's not that they're doing X, Y, or Z and that is problematic. It's that they're the establishment. That's baby-brained, because the problem is that can be used by anybody, regardless of how bad their intentions are and how much they're just going to become the new establishment. The idea that the world's richest man helps to get another billionaire elected along with a couple of other billionaire friends, the idea that they're not the establishment is baby-brained. The people you think are the establishment are only protecting the interests of those people anyways.
Here comes Marco Rubio to fight the establishment.
You're getting mad at the CEO and praising the board of directors. They're the ones who are the establishment players protect. If you don't have an ideological complaint with the establishment, then you have nothing. It needs to be a specific complaint. It's not enough to just say people versus the powerful. You have to have a specific problem with those in power so that you have a plan as to when you get into, if you are able to take power from them. Because more often than not, there are other people who do have a plan. And we're witnessing that right now. One point, Trump said that he believes God chose him, and his surviving of an assassination attempt confirmed that to him. You know who else felt they were chosen by God for a long time when they took leadership of a country? Kings. That's basically all that they were there for. It was God that basically put them there. That allowed them to justify all the stuff that they were doing. Shortly after his speech, Trump went on to announce that he was signing an executive order. He signed a bunch of executive orders. Got a whole list. We'll go through that in a second. Well, let's do this. We'll do them. Let me first say, remember, Donald Trump over the campaign trail said 100% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Then it was on day one, signing 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. And now he's set up a couple of committees to look into it. And maybe he'll do it by February 1st. Blanket tariffs are idiotic. Even his boy McKinley, who was the tariff king, I guess. McKinley didn't impose tariffs to raise money. That is not what tariffs are there for. Tariffs are specifically when you have an industry that you want to build in your country. There can be multiple reasons for it.
Say chips.
Say chips. Say electric vehicles. Say whatever, new technologies. Maybe you just, I don't know. I can imagine a country where it's like, oh, we only have people who are working, who've worked in steel factories. So we need to get those people working again. We need to bring back all the steel business. Whatever. I'm just using that as an example. Whatever reason, it is industrial planning for a country. It's not to raise money. It is to make the cost of goods from a foreign country prohibitive for the consumer, to spur investment domestically in creating that same product. If you do it across all industries, just blanket, if you do it on like a specific country, everything coming in from a specific country, there's no logic to it. But first off, you have a problem from an agricultural standpoint. Lumber from Canada, avocados from Mexico. But you also basically are willy-nilly doing this industrial. It's not industrial planning at all. It's the complete opposite. And it's not going to grow all sorts of different industries. We may not have enough workers for all of these industries to explode, increase. So the whole tariff thing is nonsense. His whole saying, you remember, every time he's what are you going to do about schools? What are you going to be doing? We're going to raise so much money through tariffs. It's absurd. He didn't seem to know what tariffs were. And maybe now his advisor going like, hey, dude, have you thought about this tariff thing? So the tariff thing seems to be sort of on ice. And he'll just impose tariffs in areas where he wants a payoff. So the tariff thing has gone away. But what he has done is he's hired he's frozen federal hiring. He is restoring Schedule F in an attempt to drive out, part one of the Heritage Foundation plan to get rid of the civil service and civil servants. He's trying to halt federal rules from going into effect before Trump appointees can review them. He's reviewing the investigative actions of the Biden administration. He's granting top secret security clearance to the White House staff without going through vetting procedures. They're ending all remote work policies. This is, again, part of making working for the federal government that much harder. People have moved away. People have moved further out from town. They have saved money from going outside of Washington. They don't want that. They want those people gone. So they're going to try and make things much more difficult for them. That's what Elon Musk did to get to start to lay off his Twitter people. He's terminate DEI programs across the federal government. The federal government, according to this action, and it's unclear how it's going to permeate through everything, but I imagine it's going to be pretty bad, recognizing only two sexes and ignoring essentially trans people's gender identity. Removing protections for transgender people in federal prisons. For energy, withdraw the United States from the Paris Accords. Declare a national energy emergency to unlock powers to suspend environmental rules, but only for fossil fuels. Not for, we're suspending rules on building windmills or power dams or anything renewable. Begin the repeal of regulations on tailpipe pollution from cars and light trucks to discourage manufacture of more electric vehicles. Roll back energy efficient regulations for dishwashers, shower heads, and gas stoves. Open the Alaska wilderness to more oil and gas drilling. Restart the process of permitting new export terminals for liquefied natural gas. These LNG terminals was the biggest thing that the Biden administration did that you didn't know about. This is the thing back in February I interviewed Bill McKibben about, and he was going down to D.C. to get arrested to prevent the permitting of these LNG export terminals. Because that means we're going to be exporting all this stuff, and it's going to, investors are going to say, we're going to invest in this, and they're going to pull it out of the ground for the next 50 years because they know they are going to be able to sell it. That's what it is. He is going to halt the leasing of federal waters for offshore wind farms. Eliminate environmental justice programs. What could possibly be environmental justice? Which are aimed at protecting poor communities from excess pollution. Yeah. Because of the system that we have in this country, moneyed people have more political power. Poor people end up basically, when there's a huge transformer thing to build or some type of wells to be dug or some type of incineration thing or whatever it is that rich people don't want to live around, it ends up going into poor neighborhoods. And very often black or brown neighborhoods because they also have very little political power.
That correlates highly with poverty.
The TikTok ban, apparently, that everybody said was so important for national security reasons. Apparently, he's decided that he, as president, can prevent a law from going into effect by 75 days. I don't quite understand that. The TikTok stuff. Are people aware of what happened with the TikTok stuff? We'll talk about that in a minute because my kids, basically walked me through the whole thing. I was there. What was happening? Withdrawn from the World Health Organization. Rename Mount Denali, Mount McKinley. This is in Alaska. McKinley had absolutely no attachment whatsoever to Alaska.
He loved that mountain.
It was named after him because somebody was a McKinley fan, and it was his way of getting back at the Jennings fans.
The woke anti-McKinley.
Yep. Honestly, that's more or less what it was.
Right.
And this is very sweet. he's going to rename the Gulf of Mexico. Of course he is. Ensure that states carrying out the death penalty have a sufficient supply of lethal injection of drugs. That's helpful.
Wonderful.
And he was so pissed that people were flying their flags at half staff because Jimmy Carter was dead that you got to fly the American flag at full staff on Monday and future inauguration days.
That's a bummer.
He's going to implement the Department of Government Efficiency that Elon Musk runs. I don't know how that, what the hell is that?
Without Vivek.
Incidentally, that got, I think, 3 lawsuits on day one. Good for people to do this. Tie this stuff up. Revoking security clearances of people suggesting that the contents of the Hunter Biden's laptop could be Russian disinformation. And then he's got all this immigration stuff. Let's listen to this. This is clip number 2.
Just one. There's one on the West Bank I saw. Trump has revoked the Biden administration executive order, which imposed sanctions on persons undermining peace, security, and stability in the West Bank. That's an Amana, an Israeli real estate group that promotes settlement growth, is no longer sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury.
Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
Wow. Holy cow. Look at that. Everybody in that audience, in that great hall, agrees with him that there is a national emergency at the border. What are the chances? They're not banging on their swords, right? Their shields, like they did back in the days when this was called a monarchy.
How many of those people that run businesses, giant corporations, actually exploit undocumented labor?
I can't imagine it's more than 98% of the people in that room. But understand, what I don't see, this list of executive orders was to begin raids of capitalists hiring undocumented immigrants. I mean, that would really be the way that you do this, right? How are you going to, you find one undocumented immigrant, you go up to the manager's office and just like,
simple.
You have the right to remain silent. We're going to take you in.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will
pause it for a second. So let's talk about what constitutes criminals when we talk about immigrants. There are roughly 11 million immigrants in this country without permanent legal status. Maybe half of those came across the border. The rest overstayed their visas or whatnot. If we're talking about convicted criminals, we're talking about less than 500,000 people. For facing people who are just facing criminal charges, maybe another 200,000. And these aren't violent criminals necessarily. Some are. When he says millions and millions and millions, what he's saying is everybody who is an undocumented immigrant is now considered a criminal. Now, if you're baby brained, you're saying, well, they're called illegal. But that's just a word. That's not what the fact of the matter is. They have not broken criminal law. If you enter into this country without documents, the first time, you have not broken a criminal law. It is a civil violation. Like, if you get a speeding ticket, you are not a criminal driver. You have not committed a crime. You've committed a violation. That is a violation. It is not a crime. It is a civil. This is just the way our legal system works. You're not a criminal driver if you get a speeding ticket or you take a left-hand turn when you weren't supposed to. And he is going to criminalize all undocumented immigrants. And therefore, once he does that, he can, according to him, deport all of them. Good.
Back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country.
Now, this invasion talk and this state of emergency are really important because we talked about this guy on the Fifth Circuit, a judge who's backed off his past, arguing that, of course, we have birthright citizenship in this country. It is written explicitly in the Constitution in the 14th Amendment, but it was actually practiced even before there was even a Constitution. You're born in this country, you're a citizen of this country. But this guy in the Fifth Circuit said, well, I mean, if we're under an invasion and it's extraordinary circumstances, obviously, you can't allow an invading force to have, seek, sleeper cells of people that they're birthing here. So you can suspend birthright citizenship.
Being invaded by a force from a country who we destabilized, like Venezuela.
Yeah. It has also suspended the refugee admission program. And what is that? Well, about 200,000 Afghan refugees have come to this country because you may remember that we had occupied their country for a couple of decades. And we had basically actively endangered a ton of those people because they actually made the mistake of cooperating with us and helping us, trying to engage in rebuilding their country. Nearly 1,660 Afghans cleared by the U.S. government to resettle in the U.S., including family members of active duty U.S. military personnel, are having their flights canceled because of Trump's order suspending U.S. refugee programs. Their flights from Kabul. The group includes unaccompanied minors awaiting reunification with their families in the U.S., as well as Afghans at risk of Taliban retribution because they fought for the former U.S.-backed Afghan government. This is Sean Van Diver, head of the Afghan Evacuation Coalition of U.S. veterans and advocacy groups. The decision leaves in limbo thousands of other Afghans who've been approved for resettlement as refugees in the U.S. but have not been assigned flights from Afghanistan or neighboring Pakistan. And these are people who come in. We have developed an entire network of NGOs, some of which get federal grants, some of which do not, to resettle people. At least 200 of these people are family members of Afghan-American active duty U.S. service personnel born in the U.S. or Afghans who came to the U.S., joined the military, and became naturalized citizens. Just absolutely despicable. Trump also shut down the migrant entry app. The Biden administration created an app so that people could schedule appointments while in Mexico. It allowed almost 1,500 migrants a day to schedule a time to present themselves at a port of entry and seek asylum. It was basically a way to rationalize this process without actually having to add more people at the border crossings to process people. Obviously, adding people to at the border to process people would be a far more humane thing to do. But more than 900,000 migrants entered the country using the app from its launch at the beginning of 2023 to 2024. 30,000 migrants had appointments to enter the United States through the app as of Monday morning. The app, and it all just disappeared. We mentioned that border numbers have dropped dramatically, and apparently a big part of that is this app has just made it much more organized. It also basically amateurized people out, right, and made them stay in Mexico during this. But the fact that it's essentially a remain in Mexico policy, but with an app, as opposed to like we can see 15 people a day at the U.S. consulate.
And Vance calling it a app for illegal immigration is just another type of Nazi lie.
Total. Those are the highlights from yesterday, folks. There's a lot more of that, where that came from.
We have a limited hangout from Elon. He is admitting, to kind of get the people off the track about the Sig Heil, that he fakes his video game stuff. So
I thought the Sieg Heil thing was a way of getting people off the trail of him.
Yeah. But I'm not bad at video games. I'm a Nazi.
Wait, I changed my mind. I'm bad at video games.
Oh, wait, it's worse to be a Nazi.
Mike from Texas. Oh, folks, I wasn't joking about those dog collars. Get the dog collars. We're not going to have them for much longer. Shop.majorityreportradio.com. The dog collars are on sale. $10. Two of those bad boys, maybe even one, for a yoga mat too. But great for your dogs. Maybe I got to get one. My girlfriend
should have said PAWS, pause it, but you missed maybe for the V2.
Yeah. Yep. That was a failure. Folks, it's your support that is, oh yeah, here we go. Mike from Texas. Every time I hear J6 hostages, I'm reminded of Carlin's critique of Americans obscuring through the meaning of basic English words, specifically when he said Palestinian freedom fighters are now terrorists, Israeli terrorists are now liberators, which also seems appropriate with the current events. When I hear the J6 hostages, it really does, it immediately makes me think of like the idea of like, we're doing an Israeli, hostage exchange for prisoners, Palestinian prisoners. But these Palestinian prisoners are abducted in more or less similar process. Armed guys come, grab them. There's no other process. That's it. They seem to be subjected to the same, maybe more, certainly systemic abuse in these prisons.
Kind of similar to the fixation on Pau Mia in Vietnam. kind of like a waving the bloody shirt against the left or critics of the war when you look at what maybe the Phoenix program was doing to Vietnamese.
Yep. Yep. Folks, it's your support that makes this show possible. This is going to be a long 4 years. We're all going to try and get through it together. We're going to try and figure out how we can take power within the political avenues that make the most sense. We'll have the most rate of return, as it were, on taking power, picking and fighting battles, and that will, I think in most instances, at least on a federal level, perhaps take power within the Democratic Party. Local level, just take power. And also, at the same time, doing a rear guard type of thing with the Trump administration. Great time to go out, organize your fellow tenants in your building if you rent. Great time to do that. Ostensibly about the heat's not coming on at the right time, or the pipes are clanging, or
they're raising the rent by how much?
They're raising the rent, or can we just get the front hallway cleaned, the breezeway locked, the intercom fixed, whatever it is. But just a good time to start to build networks. Anyways, join themajorityreport.com if you have the extra cash to support the show. If you don't, send us an email at gmail.com, majorityreporters@gmail.com. Give us some time. We'll get to it. JustCoffee.coop. Coffee's going to go through the roof soon. Good time to go buy a $5 bag from Just Coffee. Apparently, like in Brazil, it's retail prices shot up. The wholesale cost of coffee have gone way up.
Uh-oh.
Just Coffee is going to protect its producers, as they always do. They're a co-op. Very reasonable prices for their coffee. Great coffee. Go buy a 5-pound bag. Do yourself a favor right now. Join the and use the coupon code Majority. Get 10% off. Buy the Majority Report blend, or some of the other blends, or a single origin. Bradley, ESVN.
Yeah, so on ESPN, Emma is obviously not in today, so we will be back on Thursday to recap the divisional round games from NFL weekend and the college football national championship game, and we will give our picks for the conference championship round coming up this weekend. So youtube.com/ESPN show to check that out, and we'll see you Thursday at around 4 p.m.
And tonight at 7 Eastern, Left Reckoning, Abdel Halim Abdelrahman joins me to talk about what Palestinians can expect under Trump, the ceasefire, settler violence in the West Bank, and whether being pro-Israel is becoming a political liability. Check that out, patreon.com/Left Reckoning tonight.
See you in the fun half.